Hello everybody, and welcome to my October reading wrap-up and my November TBR. I read 8 books this month. 2 of them are physical, the rest were all like digital. So let's get into it. This is gonna be fun. The types of books I read this month has actually been all over the place. But the 2 physical books have like similarities. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with Howl's Moving Castle. I loved this book. Like, I had so much fun reading this. I think I gave this 4 stars. It wasn't like so like breathtaking that it was a 5-star book, I think, but I just know I fully enjoyed myself the entire time I was reading it. And the way that this is different from the movie is actually kind of fascinating. But definitely recommend, and this is the Fairy Loot edition, you know, so it's absolutely gorgeous. Moving on to the other physical book I read, which is Welcome to the Hum Nom Dom Bookshop. You will recognize this if you watched my readathon video, because I finished this in the readathon video, but I think I did give this one 5 stars. I loved this book. It was almost exactly what I needed when I read it too. Like, this is like a nice cozy slice of life, while this one was a cozy fantasy. So I ended up just really enjoying the simplicity of it, but also the emotional depth of it. Like, it was what my inner being needed. Alright, next, I want to get my unpopular opinions out of the way. My friend Adia and I are doing a buddy read this month, and we did Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and unfortunately we both hated it. I gave it 2 stars. I think like she originally gave it 3 stars, and then she continued on to the second book in the series and had even more problems with that book, so to the point where she went back and gave the first book 2 stars. So it's safe to say we didn't like it, and I'm not going to get into the reasons why, because it honestly doesn't matter too much. If you like the Poppy Wars, you know, good for you. There's just some like character like inconsistencies and like writing issues, honestly, that her and I just couldn't get over. But again, beside the point. The other book that I was actually kind of disappointed in was Kindred by Octavia Butler. Now, I just, with the way that people talk about her writing, I was just expecting it to be better. The dialogue was just straight up ridiculous at times. Like, the dialogue between the main character and her husband does not sound like dialogue that would happen between a main character and her husband. Like, I just, and the I don't know if I can call it a magic system, but it was never explained. It never made sense. And honestly, at one point I was like, oh my god, she's going back again, you know? And that's my spoiler-free review of it, because I can't get into more depth without, again, spoilers. But yeah, just safe to say, I was expecting more. Which is a shame, because there's other Octavia Butler books I wanted to read. Now I'm not sure if I should. I might, though, just to see if maybe Kindred was just a one-off thing, you know? But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Next, I want to discuss the almost more like horror thriller kind of books I read this month. First up, Spread Me by Sarah Gailey. This was a novella. This book is wild. Like, it's definitely, it's you know, an isolation kind of horror novel. There are some very intense things that happen in this book. Obviously, it's a novella, so it's very fast-paced. And it's very, I don't know what words I'm allowed to say on YouTube. You know, it's a very, I don't want to say spicy, because that kind of, I feel like doesn't do the right vibe, because it's a horror novel, right? Like, you know what I mean. It was very sexually charged. That's all I'm gonna say. If that's your cup of tea, go for it. Okay, on to the next one. Immaculate Conception. I was pleasantly surprised by this book. I mean, like, I was hopeful going into it, and it didn't necessarily take some of the direction I thought it would, but the directions it did take were fascinating. I did think the AI part of it was going to be a bigger part of it, which is where it threw me off. But the technology part of it, the jealousy and obsession between the main character and her friend, like the peek into like the art world, all was so good. Like, I was obsessed from the minute I picked it up, from the minute I finished it. Yeah. The final two books in my TBR, and you can tell that I kind of grouped these as like kind of almost by type of book I read. But the first one I want to talk about is Untethered Soul. This one was interesting. I definitely think it's probably more geared towards people near the beginning of their spiritual journey, because it wasn't anything like mind-blowing. Like, there wasn't anything said in this novel that I hadn't heard before. But that being said, it was nice. It was kind of almost like a relaxing, like, self-help kind of book. But yeah, that's honestly all I have to say about it. I thought it was okay. I didn't rate it because it feels weird to rate a book of this kind, because, like, I just don't know. It was okay. And then, moving on. I also listened to On Writing by Stephen King, because I've mentioned it here and there, but I am, like, working on my own book. I have a first draft finished, and I'm working on editing it right now. The editing trenches is absolutely awful, but it's whatever. But listening to this was nice. It was nice. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with Stephen King's works. There are some books of his that I've read and really liked, and there's some that I've read and really disliked. But that being said, this book made me like Stephen King more as a person. So do with that information what you will. The writing advice in it was like okay. It was more like our autobiography than it was like a book actually on writing, I think. But I like the advice that he did give. Again, I've heard a lot of it, but it's literally because everyone always quotes his book, so I didn't, lean too much on that. I don't remember if I rated this one or not, because I might have broken my own rule and rated it, but I literally don't remember. It doesn't matter. If you're a writer, though, it was interesting to listen to, especially if someone in the profession, though he's obviously an outside case because he made a bunch of money on his first book. And I know that's not the case for a lot of people, but I still, again, enjoyed listening to it. And like I said, it made me like Stephen King more as a person. So, yeah. Let's move on to my November TBR, because it's going to be slightly different than I have been doing it so far on this page. I'm not going to spin a wheel because I actually have so many books that I need to read right now that the wheel keeps on putting me behind. And I'm sure you've all noticed that if you have watched my previous, monthly wrap-up and TBR videos, because, I'm always like, well, I didn't finish these books that I spun on the wheel last month, but I'm reading them this month, I'll spin the wheel for the next two. That's not gonna work this time, okay? But yeah, let me get into it. So, I am currently reading The Wild Huntress. I did not finish this before October ended, but I'm about, this far. I had, started it at least. If you remember, this was the first pick on the wheel for October, but it's going to be my first read of November. And then Vicious by V.E. Schwab, I also still need to read, but that's also on the list for November. The only thing that's probably going to come in between The Wild Huntress and V.E. Schwab's Vicious is, again, my buddy read book that I'm doing with my friend Adia. This month it was Adia's choice, and she chose Interview with a Vampire. So I'm waiting for that book to come in from the library. Honestly, it should come in any day now, but I'm hoping I finish this first, but beside the point. I'm going to be reading that this month. And I have quite a few books, literally, that I have a suspended hold on at the library right now. Several books, but they're all dark academia books because I wanted to dive more into the genre. So I'll go over those individually. So the ones that I'm probably going to get to this month is I want to read King Sorrow by Joe Hill. This book came out recently, I think. But the premise sounds so good. A bunch of scholars summon, I think it's a dragon demon, and they have to have a sacrifice to it every so many years. And I've heard good things. I've heard very good things. Excuse me while I adjust my position. My feet are falling asleep. And I'll adjust the camera too. Okay, and then the other book that is also on my list is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Again, I heard that this is one of the classics in the genre almost, along with The Secret History by Donna Tartt, also on my list. all classics. So I've heard mixed things about the Secret History. Some of these books I am nervous that they're gonna be boring, but I'm giving them a chance because I am pleasantly surprised a lot, honestly. That's why I like taking a chance, and that's why it's great to be using my local library for this, because I can take that chance without financially impacting me at all. So that's great. And then besides those three, this one, it's in the self-help category. It was on someone's list of books that they think everyone should read, and it's The Psychology of Money. And again, I'm actually nervous to read this one because I'm kind of just nervous to see what it says, and I'm also scared it's going to be boring. But I'm hoping that it will give good advice, because I am a broke mid-20s person who is struggling financially because of my student loans. So maybe it would give me some tips on how I could do something without getting a second job. But I'm not going to go into my financial situation on here. Doesn't matter. And then finally, on top of all of that, I also hope to, there's going to be a bunch of audiobooks that I'm going to randomly listen to probably throughout this month too, because audiobooks are great for me to listen to at work. Most of the books that I read last month were all audiobooks. And then finally, the final book that's technically on this TBR, that's been on my TBRs for months now, is Zodiac Academy 7. I am still reading. My friend and I have finally made some more progress than we had last month. We are past the 50% mark. It's just taken us a while, okay? It's been kind of hard to get through. We've just been struggling, but it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is my nice little short little monthly wrap up. I'm hoping for a good reading month this next month because I have a lot of books to get through and not a lot of time. So, we'll see. Yeah, and love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.